Vice President Kashim Shettima orders disbursement of 250 billion naira loan to smallholder farmers at single digit. Federal government cancels 5% telecom tax on calls and data services. And on Commodity Watch, oil prices steady as oversupply expectations offset risks to output, and gold prices rise Friday near all-time high as soft U.S. data boosts rate cut bets. And our guest today is National President of Maize Association of Nigeria, Dr. Bello Abubakar Anu, with whom we will be looking at solving the loan repayment challenges of the Anchor Borrowers Program. The program is Business Express, reaching you from Abuja, Nigeria's capital. I am Nneka Oko. Welcome. The federal government has removed the 5% excise duty earlier imposed on telecommunication services in Nigeria, in a move expected to reduce cost pressures for millions of mobile subscribers. This was disclosed by the National Orientation Agency, NOA, on Thursday in a statement which notes that the step reflects the Tinubu administration's efforts to cushion the impact of economic reforms and enhance affordability in the digital economy. The tax, which covered both voice calls and data, was introduced under former President Muhammadu Buhari's administration, but faced strong opposition from telecom operators, industry stakeholders, and consumer rights groups, who argued that it would further burden Nigerians already grappling with rising tariffs and economic hardship. Activities in Nigeria's industrial sector declined at 49.1 index points in August 2025 from 51.1 index points in July. This was disclosed by the Central Bank of Nigeria in its Purchasing Managers Index report for August 2025. The report further shows that output, new orders and employment indicated decline in August 2025 at 49.6, 47.2 and 48.9 index points. Stock of raw materials experienced contraction at 48.9 index points in the review month. The report also shows that among the 17 sub-sectors surveyed in the industry sector, 7 recorded expansions, while the remaining 10 sub-sectors indicated contraction. The sub-sector with the highest expansion was transportation equipment, while paper products recorded the highest level of contraction. Meanwhile, the federal government has reaffirmed its commitment to transparency and accountability in budget implementation, urging Nigerians to take ownership of the budgeting process. This call to action was made at the third quarter Citizens and Stakeholders Engagement Forum at the instance of the Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning. The forum provided a platform for stakeholders to raise concerns, seek clarifications, and engage with policymakers on budget-related issues and statistical data.
So we encourage National Bureau of Statistics to, as much as possible, engage with citizens, explain methodology, and so that when they release statistics, at least their basis for doing so can be understood.
Every Nigerian has the right and the duty to ask, where is our money going? What value are we getting? Who is accountable?
Fiscal Responsibility Act asks the Budget Office to give us a report of quarterly budget implementation 1 month after the end of the quarter. So, if we are still implementing 2024 up till now, when is 2025 going to start?
The federal government has directed the Presidential Food Systems Coordinating Unit to expedite action on the disbursement of 250 billion naira credit support to smallholder farmers at a single-digit interest rate. Vice President Kashim Shettima gave the directive during the 6th meeting of the Presidential Food Systems Coordinating Unit Steering Committee held at the Presidential Villa.
I want to place it on record our deep appreciation for Mr. President's leadership and guidance. His clear directives on fertilizer liberalization and the seed fund have given the PFSCU the mandate and political cover to act boldly. But the private sector must drive the process. I want to once again thank everyone for attending this important conversation, and let's continue to act very fast for the sake of our nation.
The best way is to make farmers very happy. They are the drivers of production. They are the ones that feed the nation. Mind you, 80% or 85% of the food we eat, they come from the smallholder farmer. So we should not neglect them. Those are the ones that are driving the substantial part of the GDP, the 24-25% agricultural GDP contribution to national GDP comes from, 80% comes from them.
On Business Express today, we turn the spotlight on Nigeria's agricultural financing with particular focus on the Anchor Borrowers Program of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, launched to boost food production, cut imports, and empower smallholder farmers. This scheme injected over 1.12 trillion naira into the sector between 2018 and 2021. But years down the line, recovery of these loans has become a major challenge. The House of Representatives Committee on Nutrition and Food Security has recently begun probing how the funds were utilized and the hurdles in repayment. Well, our guest is Dr. Bello Abubakar Anu, President, Maize Association of Nigeria, MAN, who will share insights on farmers' challenges and what can be done to strengthen agricultural financing going forward. You're welcome to Business Express, Dr. Abubakar.
Hello, good afternoon, madam. Glad to have you. Thank you.
Great. Before we go into the details of the Anchor Borrowers Program loan repayment, let's first take a look at the prices of agricultural produce currently in the market. We can see that the price of maize has dropped by about 50%. What is the cause?
Well, once again, good afternoon, Nigerians. Everybody is aware that in 2022 and 2023, and also last year, 2024, there was a shortage of food in Nigeria. That is, we have a scarcity of food, especially maize. And the price was high. It was skyrocketed. So when our president came, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, when he observed the situation of the Nigerian, especially the small householders and also the less privileged people, are very difficult for them to eat or to get what they will provide to their family. He constituted a committee which now examined the situation of the food security in the country, which at the end, the federal government now granted or decided to take a short-term plan that they can subsidize the rate of the food commodities so that the smallholder householders can afford to get food or to purchase food for their families.
But some farmers...
in that course, there was a waiver that was granted for the importation of food into the country so that they can provide the food at that moment, because by that time it was not the time for planting or for farming harvest. So that is why when that waiver was granted, the food commodity was imported in order to subsidize the prices and then the small householders to get access to what they will eat. And it has served very well because, as how you have said, the price has dropped by not only 50%, it's even more than the 50%. Because if you look at the price of maize, even last year it was about 80,000. But now you can get maize even 30,000 somewhere.
Wow.
The new harvest is even below that 30,000. So that's what caused the price to drop down with that rate, because the one that was imported came before our harvest for this year, for the last year. So when it came after our own has came from the farm, there was already a sufficient maize in the country. So that is why the major food consumers, food processors, and also the other feed poultry farmers who used to go and purchase and buy maize from our local farmers and other grains merchants.
Okay,
they cannot go to buy it from them.
Some of the farmers are complaining that they are selling below the production cost.
That way
How
is true.
do you want the government to come in and balance the situation for the farmers and the consumers?
Exactly, that is true. Government has done this in order to enable the Nigerians to get food. But on the other side, there is a problem from our farmer side, because the inputs that they are using and other services, so their prices is very, very high now, because the issue, especially fertilizer, which is a major component in farming activities, because last year the price of fertilizer was not more than 38,000, but this year the price is over 50,000, somewhere 60,000. So that is why, if you look at the cost of production per hectare in maize sector, last year it was not more than 650 to 680,000, but this year the price has doubled, because it is 1,280,000 per hectare. So which means that if they now buy the input and the other services, what they will get from their farm, average is 3 tons. That is 30 bucks. If you sell it at the rate, even at 30,000, you'll get only 900,000. Which means that you see, they, at the end, they will lose. That is why farmers are complaining about the other side of the inputs they used to buy for their farming activities.
Now, on the issue of anchor borrowers, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, says about 30% of the total loans given to farmers across all commodities have not been paid. What is the situation with your association?
Okay, in our own case, it is a loan that was granted to the farmers, and it is something that is ongoing. The recovery, it is ongoing process. And you have mentioned that only 30% that left unpaid. So which means that even in an examination, if you score 70%, I think you'll get a very good in your grade. So which means that the remaining 30% that was not paid is not intentional, though, because there are some challenges that constituted to that no repayment of that 30%.
What are these challenges?
And it is ongoing process, as how I've said earlier. The challenges are, you see, the first thing, this loan that was provided, that was given to the farmers, was not given on time. There was a delay in releasing the ponds from the PFIs. And also the second one, there is these natural disasters that affected the production each and every year. It is very clear. There was a flood, there was a flood, and also there is a drought and some other insects that affected our productions. And the insurance also are not paying as how it is supposed to be paid. Then the next issue or the next challenge, which is the major one, is the insecurity. Because our farmers planted in some areas or in their best locations before they harvest, this issue of bandits, sometimes they will reach them in their farms to kill some, to kidnap some. Because of that, many farmers migrated from their original locations to other places which they cannot be able to finish their production. So you see that that one is the major one, because even if you are there, sometimes you cannot be able even to reach your farm, because there was a time they set fire in some of our farms, of our farmers. So that one is also a major challenge. Also, there was a COVID-19 global pandemic, which also affected the production in 2019 and 2020 and 2021. Also, there was this EndSARS saga, which also affected some of our recoveries in so many states, where this use now vandalize our warehouses and took away some of the grains that were recovered.
So is the CBN collecting produce as a method of repayment?
That's how the program was designed.
Okay.
The loan will be given to the farmer in kind, not in cash. That is to provide the input and the services to the farmers, which at the end of the harvest, farmers will pay in kind also with what they have produced, that is the grains. So they have collected the grains, as how you can see. This is the sample of what we have done in 2020 for the maize pyramid. All this is part of what we have recovered from the farmers all over the country, which they now repaid their loan with it.
Okay, we've heard reports of a man issuing demand letters and even heading to court with some defaulters who claim human rights violations in the process. And just last month in August, you announced collaborations with the EFCC, DSS and police to retrieve those 2018 to 2021 loans. What sparked this decisive move, and how has the response been on ground, especially in hotspots like Katsina or Zamfara?
Well, last month we conducted a national executive meeting with all our state chairmen in respect of this recovery, because it is something that we know that it is a loan that was given to our farmers, and we have taken some major strict actions against major defaulters even before. So that was why now there is a need for this recovery. And if you look at what is going on about the issue of the Anko Borrower, some people are expecting that this loan was not given to the farmers. So that was why we have taken this action. We reported them to many security agencies so that people will know this is true, this is the reality. Because we have evidences where we reported them, and they have cooperated with us. Because I know that we have recovered in so many places, like Sokoto and even here, Abuja, through some of the security agencies that are assisting us in this recovery. And then because of what the action we have taken, that is why some of the farmers, they went ahead to court that we have violated their fundamental human rights. But at the end, we have won the case. Because some of them, they want to court that the EFCC, Oman, or Central Bank, or Unity Bank, they have no right to arrest them or to call them for this recovery. But at the end, court now ruled out that they must pay. And in some of our states, we still have these cases with our state chairmen. They are in court, and they are still pursuing the cases, which at the end will succeed and will get this money back as how they were given the
all right, Doc, with the Tinubu administration doubling down on food security, you have called for loan waivers or downward reviews for genuine cases affected by floods or pests like armyworms. Now, if you could redesign the Anchor Borrowers program's recovery framework tomorrow, what key reforms would ensure it doesn't just survive but thrives for the next generation of maize growers?
Well, if you look at the success story of the Anchor Grower program, it is something that needs to be sustained, either with the name of Anchor Grower or with any other name, because the modality is it's a very well structured that provided food security, which is number one in this country. Everybody know and everybody is aware. Because if you could remember, during COVID-19 period, where all the borders of all the countries were closed down, there is no any movement for any food crops from one country to another. We feed ourselves. We depended on ourselves. And the prices was very affordable to everybody. Why? Because of the Anchor Grower program. And there are so many issues like job creation, which was provided. At that time, there were so many maize industries that were established in these countries, so many processing companies, so many input processing companies like fertilizer, seed companies, agrochemicals were established. Why? Because there was a demand from the farmers because of the program. And they have provided what was needed. That is the food security, job creation, and also providing the security in the country. So now, if this program can be restructured, there is some challenges which need to be looked at it critically and holistically. How are we going to tackle these problems? Because whether we like it or not, those farmers, they have contributed and they have done their best. So it is only through this kind of structure. I am saying that not necessary to call it Anchor. Let's forget about the issue of the Anchor Borrower program. But this structure is a well structured.
Right.
The challenges, let the challenges be identified, how they can be corrected, so that we'll move forward.
All right.
Our president has
Dr.
a willing...
Bello, I'm afraid that's what
okay,
she's
thank
cutting
you.
from you. Dr. Bello Abubakar Anul, President, Maize Association of Nigeria. It was a pleasure having you on Business Express.
Thank you so much.
Great. Moving on, the Nigerian Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, NUPENG, has raised fresh concerns over what it described as flagrant disregard for agreements reached with the management of the Dangote refinery and petrochemicals just a few days after suspending its nationwide strike. In a statement jointly signed by its President Williams Akporiha and General Secretary Afolabi Olawale, the union alleged that the management of the Dangote refinery was frustrating resolutions endorsed by the federal government, the Department of State Services, DSS, and the Nigerian Labour Congress, NLC, and also intimidating their members to dump the agreement and bow to its whims. The union warned that it may be forced to resume the industrial action if the situation persists. Now, oil prices steadied on Friday as concern about oversupply and weaker U.S. demand were offset by supply disruption risks from conflict in the Middle East and Ukraine. Brent crude futures rose nearly 2% to $66.49 a barrel, and the U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude gained 4 cents to $62.41. The Brent and WTI benchmarks fell by 1.7% and 2% on Thursday. Market analysts say Brent crude is essentially flat on the week, but after a volatile ride which reflects the market's ongoing struggle to balance growing surplus risks against persistent geopolitical uncertainty and resilient refined product margins. Still on commodities, gold prices rise Friday near all-time high as soft U.S. data boosts rate cut bets. Let's see prices of commodities on the global markets. This is where we end this edition of Business Express. Be informed that all previous episodes are available on YouTube on the NTA's channel. Business Express returns next week. Until then, keep thinking and doing business. I am Neka Oko. Bye for now.